Happy holidays, Screen Junkies. Escape the endless hours of family time with this special episode you may have missed.
August 1997. Steve Jobs returns to save Apple. Air Bud dunks his way into our hearts, and GoldenEye 64 is the best Bond of its generation. The world was full of brightness and sunshine, but we crave something darker and more malevolent at the theater in Spawn. Does it hold up?
God, I love that music. All right, guys, we are live right now at Screen Junkies Central for a special 20th anniversary of Spawn. Does it hold up? It's been 20 years!
Happy anniversary
to Spawn. And I mean, we got to do this big, right?
I think so.
Yeah, this isn't just like Mike Carlson. Sorry, we're breaking out the big guns
This
here.
isn't the 19th anniversary of Spawn.
No. We are here to bring out a man who is an artist, a writer, a businessman. Let's bring out the creator of Spawn, Todd McFarlane. Whoa!
Right, let's do this.
If you had told 1997 me that 2017 me would be right here with you, I would have spilled Fruitopia on my pogs.
Wow. How old were you 20 years ago?
Ruined a slammer.
Yeah, I would have ruined it. Like, 11, like perfect,
Okay.
perfect age to sneak into
Right.
Spawn.
Okay.
I was in
that's
high
good.
school. little older than Spinny. So we're looking at the 97 Spawn, but let's kick off with some cool news, because I believe you have signed a deal for a new Spawn movie.
Yes, we have, right. Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, well, I've been teasing it literally ever since the first movie came out, and then the 3 years of HBO. People have been going, when are you going to do it again? When are you going to do it again? And I grabbed the rights back. I got busy with my other businesses. And then I've been writing the screenplay, slowly. Every year at San Diego I'm working on the screenplay. It was sort of redundant after a while. But I finally got it finished. But again, having a screenplay is only sort of the least thing that you need to do. You need to start getting now people in Hollywood to jump on.
Yeah, you need it all. And then at Image Comics, the whole ethos was like, you get to own it.
Right.
So how was it watching someone else take what you own and do this to it?
No. If you're going to make a deal and you know what the deal is, right? You go in it as a big boy and big girl, right? You never make a deal and then sit there and regret it. So, it was as good as we could do at the time. But after that, it was a PG-13 movie, and we're going to get into it here.
Right.
But, the announcement that we made was, I attached the producer of Get Out, the producer of Split, the producer of Paranormal Activity, Insidious, and The Purge, right?
It's like every good horror movie.
Jason Blum. So, and I finished. We're going to work on the script, but I direct it, and Jason helps me become a first-time director. It's going to be a dark R movie, and we're just going to make it badass.
Yeah.
It's going to be badass. So.
Well, that sounds exciting, but before we move forward, we have to look back. We
Okay,
have to look
let's
back
do
at
it.
Spawn 97.
Let's do
and
it.
to do that, you needed your Spawn.
Right.
You needed someone who could be Al Simmons, family man, assassin, evil demon from hell. And I think we brought some clips here to see how he did.
Okay,
see
let's do
Spawn.
it.
You want someone filling body bags, you send a priest.
If you can't handle it, I will.
I will send whoever, wherever I choose. You will follow orders and do your job. Got a problem with that, soldier?
Yes, I do, sir.
Every time you go out there, you come back a little bit more dead inside.
Damn.
Yeah. Man.
So here's my problem, Spencer, and so with Spawn's got to be really tough. And as much as I love Michael Jai White's great looks after he's snapped a neck, the problem I have with him as Spawn is I kind of feel like I could, maybe take him.
What?
Like as a
Joe.
I feel like I could
Joe, you're a second-degree yellow belt. Don't get cocky.
Only a first-degree yellow belt, 4 months. But I've learned some things, and I don't know, the guy doesn't intimidate me.
You think you could take Michael Jai White in a fight?
A little bit.
You might have a chance to prove it. Face off. Put her there. Guys, Black Dynamite, The Dark Knight, Spawn himself, Michael Jai White. Dude, thank you for coming. Okay, in all honesty, I think you nailed the part of Al Simmons. But then you have to act through a whole hamburger face. What's that like?
Well, I used to be claustrophobic till after the movie.
I remember.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a great experience. You know, I mean, I had to learn how to emote, of course. What's important is that you connect with your humanity even though you look like a hamburger face. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's a cool thing. You know, it's a good acting job, acting experiment. You know what I mean? So it was a wonderful situation for me.
And look, can I just say, it's been 20 years, and he doesn't look very much different than he just did on stage.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's some prime Michael Jai
Thanks,
White.
Just for Men.
So, as an actor, this is something we were talking about after we watched the movie together. As an actor, sometimes you do projects that are great, they're well received. Sometimes you do some that aren't. Are there telltale signs on a set where you're like, and if there are, like, kind of how do you stay engaged, even if you know this train might be going off the tracks?
Well, all you can do is your best, man.
Yeah.
All you got to do is your best, and then you never have to look back on it. There's some movies that I've done that I don't want to look back on. You know, I watch it one time or whatever, and then it's like, you know, you just kind of, you know.
What's one thing you take off your IMDb?
Oh, I ain't gonna tell you. I'm not that dumb.
So you guys worked with a director on this movie, Mark A.Z. DePay?
Yeah, first-time director, Mark.
First live-action film and last live-action film.
No, he did another one.
He did another one?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think called Piranha, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Did he seem out of his element, or were you happy with him on set?
No, it was interesting because we had a first-time producer, first-time director. The guy doing the special effects had come from ILM, which is George Lucas's place. And so they put a lot of trust in a group, and everybody was doing the best that they could at that time, right? They gave us a pretty big budget that they probably should have skinned it back a little bit, because I think it gave us too many possibilities, too much fun, and especially when you got to the special effects, right? So I think there was a little bit of unevenness in the special effects throughout.
A little bit. I mean, speaking of which, let's roll some of the effects from the movie Spawn, 1997.
Yes.
This is the bargain. If you need my army, you can see Wanda again. What is your answer? Yes! Yes, I will lead your army! Anything for Wanda! If you fail me, you will die. Avenge your murder. Kill Jason Wynn.
Start digging.
Woo! All right. So,
There is one 97 movie that this reminds me of a little bit.
what's that?
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oh, yeah.
The effects. And
Speaking
is
of-
it true you were supposed to be Jax in Mortal Kombat Annihilation? Is that true?
I was supposed to be a Jax in 2 other movies, but the Mike Tyson movie came up, and I took that one, and then I was supposed to be Jax for the second movie, but then Spawn came up, and I took that.
I think you dodged a
Probably a good
bullet.
choice.
I think you dodged a bullet. And you got to do Jax later.
Yeah, yeah.
But Todd, you were talking about the inconsistency in the effects, because some of them look awesome. Like the cape effects, I think, look great in the movie.
I think even the transformation of the clown into the Violator.
Yeah, the transformations look great. But then the hell stuff looks like it was on a Nintendo 64.
Yeah, no, it should. And I'll agree with you. It's true. So here's what happened. And again, these stories you'll hear 1,000 times in Hollywood. When you make a movie, you go and screen it for like a crowd like this. And then they screen it, and then people come back and they go, wow, we like the special effect. And so then the studio says, here's an extra $8 million, go do more special effects. So then they start doing more special effects. That scene was a little bit of an add-on and a stretch at the end. And then what happened with that one, I remember, was that they go, the deadline was coming, and they go, we're not going to finish it. And so they had two choices. My vote was cut it, right? If you can't finish it right, then just cut it. And they decided, I didn't have a big say, they decided to keep it in. So I go, so we're going to have him talking without moving his mouth? I mean, I thought...
I was going to mention how the devil is speaking, but he's the devil.
Right. So there were a couple moments where they were just trying to keep adding special effects, because some of them went over big in the test, that I think that they sort of got a little bit ahead of themselves.
And is that inspiring your approach to this newest movie, is to just scale it back and cut down on effects?
Well, this was a PG-13 movie, right? So what I've written is a R-rated, dark R-rated movie. No, that won't rely on special effects. There won't be a arch villain. The movie will be an urban tale, a real world, and there will be one thing out of the ordinary in the movie,
which is Spawn,
which will be the shadow that moves, that you and I intellectually know as Spawn. And when it comes, are we allowed to cuss or no?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're 21 up.
So when it comes, it will you up,
yes,
right?
Excellent.
So it will just go, and it doesn't care. It's going to come, and it's going to be nasty, and it's going to be gnarly, and it will never talk. It will just be a monster that comes and annihilates you. So
I would just love to see the studio meeting, though, where they were like, we have this movie. It's about a CIA assassin who becomes a demon who kills child molesters. Let's try to make that PG-13.
Yeah. Can we scale it back
for 13-year-olds?
Yeah, let's try to have a breakfast cereal.
What's his Hot Wheel look like?
Well, look at and just so you guys know, not only does time change graphics because CG gets better, but it even changes the way that they give you ratings, right? Yeah. So the opening scene, and I don't know how fluent you guys are in the movie, but there's a scene at the beginning where he comes in and he shoots a bunch of people, right? They were going to give us an R rating because of impact. We showed impact of bullets. The guys basically, he shot and they went, that was an R rating back then. And so we go, wow, this is so far away from an R.
I think you can show that on the Big Bang Theory now. Like
it's true.
Well, yeah, at the time, MPAA was made up of clergy. And since we already started...
Wait, are you kidding?
Yes, no joke.
Oh my God.
It had a
very conservative.
So they were real.
They love Spawn.
Right. No, but so we had one foot in the grave already because the whole hell thing.
Yeah.
So that was working against us. So anything we did was like, oh no,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they were saying I remember I went to one of the meetings and they were going, no, it's the intent. So I remember asking the question, so you're saying if I set up a little table and we have a tea party and somebody says, pass the lemonade, but we're in a graveyard, you're going to give me an R? And they went, yeah.
Wow.
Because the intent was it's dark and you're in a graveyard, so it's not just about passing the lemonade, right?
Yeah.
And so they were just looking at the hell element. I think they heard the word hell and they were just hell-bent on giving us an R.
Should have just called it heck.
Yeah.
He's a hex spawn.
Yeah, but here's the frustration though, is that now the studio, which was New Line, they wanted it to be PG-13, and now because these guys are getting so conservative, we're now cutting and chopping stuff out of it and doing stuff that again, we didn't have any extra footage to smooth it out, but to get it to an R rating, we had to submit it, I think, 3 to 5 times before they finally went, fine, okay, you can get into PG.
You just wore them out.
And that's as far away from R-rated movie in terms of the violence. What are you talking about, right? So it was a headache getting our rating too. So
Well, there is some violence, but there's also a fair amount of comedy, courtesy of one character I think we all recall from the film.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo's clown.
Yes.
If we could refresh our memories with a little bit of the comedic stylings of John Leguizamo.
Oh, naughty boy. Oops. Oh, what? I hope I didn't stain my underwear. Ah, look at that. Skid marks.
Get away from me, you freak!
Bonnie's funny, he's our man. If he can't kill him, no one can. Yay, Bonnie. S to the P to the A to the war. S to the P to the A to the war. Goes Bonnie, goes Bonnie.
So let's.
Hold on. Can I just say one thing? Go ahead. Can I say one thing? That scene where he ate the pizza with the maggots, that was real.
Whoa!
Were you there when he shot it?
Oh, I was right there.
And he could go, and action, and he was asking, how long do I have to keep him in my mouth, right?
That's awesome.
So he ate the maggots. That's how good he was. He went.
DiCaprio got an Oscar for eating a bison liver. Leguizamo ate raw maggots. Nothing.
He was a good. And then they went, we didn't quite get it. You got to do it a second time. And he was like, oh, I'll do it a second time.
He did more than one maggot take?
Yes, he did more than one maggot bite.
Leguizamo is behind that. I mean, he insisted on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he had a lot of feedback and really had a lot of ideas, like the cheerleader thing, was he like, hang on, I got it?
Leguizamo got there with his own script. He rewrote almost everything. Like some of the stuff that he would ad-lib, it was just crazy. I remember one time, Martin Sheen, it was a line like the heart of Africa burns, and it turned into the heart of Africa burns like a fat naked albino in the summer, like in Africa, and then he called Martin Sheen a super pooper scooper, and it was like Martin Sheen was just kind of like. That's not on the page. but John was all over the place. He created a lot.
And to show you how good of a sport he was, I mean, how many people know John Leguizamo? Okay, well, John Leguizamo is built like me, right? And he had to put that fat costume on, and it was a pain in the ass to put on every day. And then he would sit there. The only thing got him through is that he had the hole where they could, in between breaks, he would sit like this big fat guy, like Jabba the Hutt, and then they would pump air into him, and he'd be doing it the whole time.
Yeah, and he's squatting down.
And then when he had to walk, right, and I never heard him complain once, ever. That man never complained
I heard him
once.
complain. See, I was in the makeup trailer with him, so I got all the complaints.
He suffered for his art. There's one other character I wanted to bring up that I think gets overlooked a lot.
Maybe the most key character of the movie.
Maybe the most key character, and the one people don't usually associate with Spawn, but is a surprisingly big part of the movie, and that's Spaz the dog. Can we take a look?
Hey, Spaz. Same routine, all right? Guard the house, guard Wanda.
Great guard dog. You're gonna do just what you promised.
Put down my dog.
Nice, doggy. Heel fat. No, I got it. Lay dead!
You don't want to be where I'm going. Okay.
Spaz! Hey!
I followed him here.
Thanks, kid.
Oh.
Now the name Spaz, just so everybody knows, the guy who was in charge of the special effects, it was Spaz Williams, right? That was his name, so we just called the dog Spaz, right? So
Was Spaz being included, was that a way to throw off the clergy?
yeah.
Like if we had a dog.
We have a cute dog. Was he tough to work with on set, Michael?
Yes.
You guys don't speak anymore.
My God. Yeah. Do you remember the outtake stuff? And there's these dog trainers. That's like a nightmare. Because to a dog trainer, the movie is, to them, it's a whole movie about a dog. It's got nothing to do with Spawn or anything. It's a movie about a dog, and that's it. And so if the dog is not looking in the right place, I don't care what you're doing and you're acting in a scene or whatever, there's a dog trainer that goes, Sparky, no, it's like, if the dog is supposed to be seated but happens to stand up, but it's in the same damn place, no, stop. They will mess up the whole take, and you will hate the dog by the end of it. I'm sure the dog is passed on now. Yeah.
It's 20, guys.
But damn it.
It's a 20-year-old.
But damn it. I mean, goodness. I wound up hating that poor little dog. Rest in peace.
Maybe Todd could reward you. I don't want to put you too much on the spot. Maybe a cameo in the new Spawn. Maybe a little VO role or something.
Look. I keep trying. I'm trying to figure out how to get Michael and Keith David, right?
Yeah.
Somehow
Nice.
get them. And just even if they're walking across the street, just see it. I'm gonna put. We're gonna put an Easter egg in there. No, you have like something's happening when you least expect it. Somebody bumps into Keith David and he goes, "Watch it."
Yeah, I love it. Unite the Spawniverse.
I just need the 2 words from Keith David because everything he says is awesome.
Perfect.
Let's get down to the brass tacks. Show is called Does It Hold Up?
20 years on, what's your verdict? How do you feel about it now? Thumbs up, thumbs down, or so-so?
To me, it was a double. It wasn't a single, it wasn't a disaster, and it wasn't a home run by any stretch. It was, we were limited to the special effects of that time and that era and the skill sets of the people that were on it. So, and it was way before this whole thing that's happening with superhero comic books, right? Mm-hmm. So, I cut a lot of stuff out of it. If you gave it to me and said, do the remastering, there would be a lot of scenes I'd cut and go, and just get to the good stuff and keep some of the stuff that was unfinished out of there. I think it would be a little bit better. Let me just tell you, there would be no children and no dogs in my movie. So I was always advocating, I don't need kids and dogs in this dark, ugly world, but they needed to keep it PG-13. They thought it would soften it up. Yeah. So, that's where I'm at.
Michael, how do you feel 20 years later?
Well, I feel the same way as Todd does. And even when we did the movie, there was so many elements of the story that got taken away because of the special effects. The special effects just went nuts. But, in the end of the day, you got to care about the characters and stuff like that. And some of that stuff was gone. But it's kind of interesting where it holds up in a different way. Some stuff that wasn't meant to be funny is kind of funny now when I look at it.
You know what I mean? Capsule, yeah.
So, the action drama becomes an action drama comedy, so it holds up in that manner.
Just gets finer with age. Yeah. Well, I gotta say, this, for my verdict, the movie came out the same year as Batman and Robin, and it's way better than that piece of
Guys, we've got one of the guys that changed the game in comic books and the second black superhero.
Yes.
In movies. Shaq got there first, but I think you did it better. Thank you guys so much for being with us.
Thank you guys for being a good sport tonight. Todd McFarlane, Michael Jai White.